What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, man, um, I think LeBron James right now is finding out that if you just work hard and play hard, like some things will take care of themselves. Certain things LeBron James tried to manufacture artificially, and those things are going to come back to bite LeBron James. Like you can't you can't fool people into thinking that you were working hard. You can't fool people into thinking that you were playing hard and then expect to benefit from that. Like people know what hard work is and people know what it is. They know what it looked like when an athlete play hard. That's why people, that's why fans feel the way they do about Michael Jordan. That's why fans feel the way they do about Kobe Bryant, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and not just guys like those guys who left it on the court, those guys who won rings. But we talking about guys like Patrick Ewing. We talking about Karl Malone, Charles Barkley. Like all those guys have a fan base that appreciate like what they brought to the what they brought to the court. And they had fans that loved him, like fans that can look back on all the great plays and all the great memories that these great basketball players gave. So it's not just about like Michael Jordan, but the point is to be able to put that work in, um, while you are able to play hard and leave everything out there on the court. Because once you step away from the game of basketball, like those fans allow you to tap back into, they'll repay you. They're gonna repay you for all the memories you created for them, all the good times that you was able to share with your fan base and the people that really like watching you play. So LeBron James throughout his career trying to create these artificial narratives, and it's right now is showing that like this is a situation where LeBron James he didn't have to be in this situation. When you think about like now he's in a situation where he could possibly at 41 years old be playing for league minimum, right? Whereas though Michael Jordan, when he was his last 2 years in Chicago, Michael Jordan got $30 million each year. Now, the reason why he was able to command $30 million those years is Michael Jordan never really focused on getting a big contract early in his year. Early, you know what I mean? He was getting money from his endorsements. And so that allowed Michael Jordan to just focus on being the best basketball player he could, right? And he was building up equity with his fan base. That wasn't monetary. Like the fans knew every time Michael Jordan signed a contract, they knew Michael Jordan was worth more than what he signed for. But Michael Jordan also knew and realized his agent knew and realized that like the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan could have been locked up every year or every couple years. They could have been locked in a contract dispute if Michael Jordan really wanted to, if he really wanted his agent to press that, to press that issue. But it wasn't about that. Mike gave his agent David Falk marching orders to, just get me a decent deal. And that's what it was because Mike knew that in the long run, he was building equity with that fan base. Right. And so, and that's, I don't understand like with LeBron James being a student of the game, like why he didn't understand that, why he didn't get that. And Michael Jordan is not the only. You can think about like Jerry West, like Jerry West and LeBron James commented that Jerry West went to 9 championships and only won one, right? But Jerry West, nobody can ever say that Jerry West didn't play hard. Fans wanted when Jerry West had the opportunity to win that championship. Fans they were rooting for him. They knew that he played hard, and they were rooting for him. They were happy that Jerry West finally got that championship. And long after Jerry West left the court, Jerry West was able to tap into that fan base, that market, that love, that people that he had earned. Right, he earned that. you know, um, Jerry West is the logo. He's the NBA logo, and that just didn't happen. I think Jerry West probably still would have got that NBA logo even if he didn't win that one championship. I think he still would have got it just because of the way he played on the court. That you don't get that logo if you low managing. You don't get that if you more so concerned about trying to steer the narrative and control the narrative. You don't get that. You earn that, right? And so LeBron James right now is he's asking or he's going to ask his fans for something that he didn't earn right, like throughout his career when he was playing. And he's expecting his fans to carry his legacy, promote his legacy, and represent him in a way that he did not earn. And it's just not going to happen. And like I said, with LeBron James being a student of the game, he should have known, like nobody, none of the past great superstars have really taken the road that LeBron James took when it came to, to really to yeah, and his brand, protecting his brand, building a image that was going to sustain his legacy long after he retired. And none of those guys that I mentioned, none of the guys that play in the NBA have a legacy of being somebody who is like more controversial, more polarizing, and because being polarizing is not a long-term business strategy. That's not something that that's not a way to maximize your business. Being polarized, you can't think of any restaurant that's polarizing, any clothing store that's polarizing. You can't think of, like, businesses don't act like, they don't operate like that. They try to maintain a certain image, right? They don't want to alienate any potential customers or fans or anything like that. So that's not a long term. If you're in a WWE, you wrestling or something like that, you can play a bad guy. If you're in a movie, you can play a bad guy, but it's not for a business strategy for a brand that, I can't think of one, big business that can be sustained with a image that's polarizing. You know, Walmart is not polarizing. Uh, Target is not polarizing, and anything they do, any type of bad publicity that they might receive, they do something to correct that immediately, and they try to re, excuse me, they try to rebuild their image. And LeBron James never did that, and so that's why at this age, LeBron James is in a place where he is is like he got all his money up front for as long as he could. And now going out of the NBA, people and teams are in a position where they don't really have to pay LeBron James what he's asking for, right? And and a lot of times that's what it is for players anyway. For most players, by the time you get to the end of your career, you're not worth as much as you were when you were in your prime. So that's a natural progression of things, right? But one thing you can do when you're in your prime is you can build that equity with your fan base. And you build that equity with your fan base, and then that'll give you leverage going past your retirement years. And everybody, Magic Johnson is tapping into the equity that he built in the 80s. Michael Jordan right now is still tapping into the equity that he built in the 90s. Isaiah Thomas, like Charles Barkley and what is it, and Shaq and all those guys, they still tapping into the equity that they built back when they were playing basketball. And LeBron James flopping, load managing, that's not a way to build equity. And so that, in my opinion, and that's a big downfall of this player empowerment that has gone on for the last, I would say, like last 15, 20, I would say 15 years or so. Mainly the LeBron James era. When you think about Kevin Durant, James Harden, LeBron James, those guys who were franchise type ball players who moved around from team to team, never had a forever home, and they fractured their fan base. What what LeBron James did for Cleveland wasn't special because he did the same thing for Miami. What he did for Miami wasn't special to their fans because he did the same thing in LA. So they don't feel a closeness or a specialness from him because he moved around. He's more so of a mercenary, and so LeBron James, people get it confused. They say he's trying to stick around the league because he's playing for the love of the game, and that's not it. LeBron James, in my opinion, is sticking around because he's staying for the money. He like what the money he make, and he likes what the NBA does for him, but he didn't really reciprocate. And so that's going to be LeBron James' problem after he leave the league is the fact that he didn't give back to the league. He actually cheated the game and he cheated himself. And so that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, man, I'm gonna check y'all out in the next video. Peace.